Hello, guys, and welcome to Basecast episode 197. Yes, that's Aaron wearing a gown below me. If you're wondering, I had to get that out of the way right now.
Look, it's cold this evening, right? One needs to stay warm.
I think that's gonna be the title of the podcast now. But yes, welcome to Basecast. Yeah, Aaron's gown. Welcome to Basecast 197. I've got Aaron with me, of course. I just mentioned him in his lovely gown. I've got Gary with me as well. Gary, how you doing?
I'm good. I need to check my drink when you said that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm luckily I wasn't drinking anything. And the fourth rotating chair this week is Mr. Benjamin Ward. Ben, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm very good. I'm not rotating the chair this
Not
week.
rotating the chair. It's fine. It's fine. It's all right. We won't put you through that. We'll just introduce you normally instead. We're gonna get straight into it because there's a lot of video games being played recently because it's a video game busy, heavy period, shall we say? We're gonna start. I want to hear Gary's like sick thoughts about Horizon Forbidden West. So, Gary, I'm gonna start with you. What have you been playing?
Okay. So yeah, I've been playing Kenna a little bit, not much to be honest. And then I bought Horizon Forbidden West.
Mm-hmm.
I've got thoughts on it.
Popcorn.
First off,
Sit
it
back.
looks
Popcorn.
no, it's not that dramatic, but it looks incredible straight away. Got to get that out there. It's a beautiful looking game. I'm playing in the frame rate mode. I tried it in 30 with the 4K, and my eyes can't adjust to 30 now. It's ridiculous how sort of quick your eyes sort of adjust to it. But
Aaron's like got a lovely smile there.
It's just like it's not like we've been saying this for like 5-10 years. You know,
I'm playing on 30 just to let you know because I like the visuals because I tried both as well, and I can see why people will play in frame rate mode like you guys 100%. But I tried both. And the fidelity in the 4K mode is just that bit more that I can't go back to that. So it's the opposite of you basically. But yeah, no, that makes sense.
I think it's more obvious when you flick between the two, isn't it? Because like if you playing in 60 and then you go to 30, it's like, whoa, this is a slideshow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was my issue. I went from playing like sort of 5 or 10 minutes of 60 and then went to 30 and I was like, it was so jarring.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've put about I don't know exact numbers, but it's about 5 hours into it so far, and it hasn't gripped me like I thought it would. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's because it's a slow burner at the start, or it's just me with open world games now. I don't know, but yeah, I thought because I remember when the first Horizon came out, it was from the get-go, it was like, wow, this is incredible. But I don't know what it is with Forbidden West. It hasn't... There's... You know when you play such a good game that you just can't wait to keep going back to it? I haven't had that with Forbidden West. Haven't got that yet. But I am hoping that, say, like 10 hours in or whatever...
Have you reached the West yet? Or are you just still, like, pottering around?
Yeah, still pottering around.
Okay.
Yeah. My issue is that a game shouldn't take 10 hours to get you hooked.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that I'm close to it sort of grabbing me and pulling me in, because at the moment it's a bit like it's good, but I'm not feeling it like I did the original Horizon. And I've noticed some weird sort of graphical stuff as well, which I don't like, has pulled me out a little bit. I don't know if you guys who have played it have noticed when you do like the silent kills, the animation for it isn't even in the like the machines. It's sort of like it is, but it's not. It's sort of like at the side, so it sort of grazes it rather than like. And I don't know. It's that sort of made me think, okay, this is a bit weird, but that's my.
Yeah, I can't
maybe it's just. Yeah, maybe it's just the area I'm in at the moment, but I noticed that every time I've done like a silent kill, it wasn't like actually inside, like hitting the machine. It was sort of like at the side of it, which these games, they're massive, so you're going to see stuff like that, but it sort of took me out of it a bit. But I'm just hoping that it draws me in because it's a stunning looking game. The character models are incredible. The the animations of their like expressions is like next level. I was blown away
Really
by
good.
it, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping, I'm hoping in the next sort of couple of hours playing it, I'm gonna be okay. I'll get it now. But at the moment, I'm a bit like, okay.
I think you're probably fair in that. Like it is a bit of a slow burner. Have you done like the big? There's like a big sort of lift that takes you down from a massive cliff top down into another area yet?
Yeah. I don't want to spoilers technically, right? So,
But when you sort of get past that point, that's when you're sort of taken properly into the Forbidden West.
Okay. So I'm basically on the sort of cusp then of it, I would imagine.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because that first area is really kind of it's a bit of a tutorial, kind of wrapping up some stuff from the previous game. Obviously, there's the section where the final battle of the first game takes place, and you've got like that huge tower. So after that, it does open up, and I do agree with you. Like I can't stand it when people talk about like Final Fantasy 13, I think it was, and they're like, "Oh, it gets really good after 22 hours." I'm like, I'm not putting 22 hours into a game.
It gets okay. It gets okay after 22 hours. I wouldn't say really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a fair thought. That's a. It's always nice to hear differing opinions and like to see like what you think from the other side. But I think the I'm kind of way into the West now, so I've got way past that part before I started doing something else. But I think it's a case of like the world immersed me, and like the ecosystem with the like the mechanical creatures. Was just like fascinating for me to learn about, and I love collecting things. So like I'm collecting everything I see. I just press the focus button. I'm like, yep, I'm going to collect that, and then I see a question mark. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm going there. Even though I probably can't do it yet, I'm going to go there and check that shit out. So maybe we have a different way of put up like, and these games are designed around that for different types of players. So you will probably get a slightly different experience. Someone who's maybe not doing all that stuff. Maybe I am, maybe you aren't. But I do think hopefully it gets better for you, and hopefully you feel that urge to like compel to go on and see what the world has to offer. Because once you get into the West proper, and just before you get into the West actually as well, there's a really cool like sequence, shall we say? And then when you get into the West, it's just like holy shit, everything is. Here you go. Go for it.
That sequence you're talking about, I've just literally done that. So
okay. Got it. Yeah.
But I'm sure it will. All of a sudden, it just click. But it's just at the moment, like Ben said, it's a bit of a sort of slow slog at the start. But
it's not as immediate as Zero Dawn, I don't think.
Yeah. I'm sure next week we talk about this. I'll be like, this game is incredible, and it's. Just,
or you'll be like, Halo is fucking boring, Aaron. Anything else you want to add to that list, Gary, or was it just kind of?
No, that's those two. Yeah.
Nice. Aaron, we'll come to you. Finished Guardians?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a decent game.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's getting a bit too much praise as usual. That's my standard stance
on everything. Yeah, on live.
but it is actually a solid game. It's well written. It's got a few technical hiccups, but I mean, it is what it is. Most of my time's actually been spent racing around tracks. As I said last week, Ariel's got me hooked, and I've spent
Assetto
in the past.
What is it? Yeah.
Assetto Corsa Competizione,
which is
in the last 2 days, I spent maybe 20 hours on this game. I literally just sat in front of this game with my wheel and my monitor plastered in front of my face.
Wow!
You gotta
immerse yourself.
The amount of attention to detail in that game is stupid. Like, there's so much shit to tinker with. Yeah, and it's like you basically have to learn how a fucking car works to be able to tinker with all the little bits and pieces. But it's an immensely fun game, and I'm having anything that provides a challenge to me. I'm just going to be on it constantly.
Yeah. That sounds like an Aaron game. Yeah.
Just started Elden Ring 13 minutes ago.
Okay.
So I haven't played enough of that to have an opinion on it.
How many times you died so far? Or
Zero.
Zero. Oh, okay. All right. Show off. All right.
What else was I playing? I loaded back up Guilty Gear Strive because Viking came out like what was it last month, and she's just a cool character, and I wanted to fuck about with that character. So
Nice.
just had a bit of fun with that, and that's about it. It's been
that's about it. Okay. Well, we are going to talk about Elden Ring a lot more, so we'll come back to that. Before we go to Ben, I'll say what I've been playing. Like today, we've come out with the review on the site, the video review on YouTube, and also Ben's technical analysis. Gran Turismo 7, which actually links nicely to what you were saying, Aaron, about the racing game you were playing. I don't think it's quite as hardcore, probably, as that, but I don't think it's that far off, if I'm honest.
Well, it got me to part with 65 smackaroos, even though I said I would never,
never do it. Like, the reviews that come out, I mean, on the whole, apart from, like, I gave it a 10 out of 10. It seems like a lot of the media and the critics that have reviewed it have also agreed. They've also, been super positive about it. It is Gran Turismo, and it is Gran Turismo back at its best, rather than being annoying and like annoyingly quirky. Rather than, it's now charming and quirky rather than being annoying and quirky. And it really wants you to come into the world of cars and the world of like car culture and enjoy it. And I'm not even into cars like that much, but like it just brings you in. It's like when someone's really excited about something, or like kind of really passionate about something, but you're not, but their passion gets you passionate about it. That's what it is. And like you just can't help but like get drawn into it yourself. And then you have the progression system is actually really nicely done. You have you've all seen probably the state of play, and like the cafe is like the main place to go. You get essentially menu books, which are tasks. You follow them to unlock cars, etc., and you move on. But if you want, you don't have to do that. Like if you're a hardcore player, you can just go. Like you probably do need to do some of that, like to unlock tracks and stuff. But you can just go and race on these tracks and do your own thing and like unlock credits that way to buy cars. You don't have to go down the menu book route. And like then for someone like you, Aaron, they'll be like, it's got an amazing amount of assists. Probably you can turn on off and on, and then you can have got the car settings as well. You can tweak the cars to like every single track. So you want to add more downforce because a certain track is more suited to that. You can do that. You can tweak them how you like. So I'm not into that all stuff, but it's there. It is really, really there. And then it's more of I think I said in my review, it's more of a driving game. Like if people think Gran Turismo, think racing game first. I think it's always been first and foremost a driving game. If you know the basics of driving, and that's what the license test, which I'll come on to in a minute, get you used to. If you master the basics of driving, like braking usually in a straight line rather than braking like side to side, because you will kind of swerve off and you'll lose speed as well going around corners. If you kind of master that and like the way to take corners, going from out to in and then in and out again, that kind of stuff, you will then get good at racing automatically because like it's taught you the basics of that. So I can't speak highly like the people will say like the AI is still, it's not as aggressive as like other games, but I don't think it needs to be because it's a very sportsman esportsy type of game anyway. It goes after like the trying to be more classy. Like it's not bumper cars here like we're talking about. Like cars will usually stick to their line unless they're trying to overtake other cars as well. And it's the same for you also. Like usually you want to stick to the line because if you go off the line, you're probably not going to take a corner well, or you're probably going to go off the track usually. So there is that, and it's hard to fault. Like I said, it's very, very hard to fault. Everything is like so lovingly crafted by the team. You can tell the detail on the cars. I don't know if Assetto's got this as well. Like just like you can pick out the minute details on the car. Like if you go into like replay mode, etc., you'll see all the little details, whether you're in like outside or cockpit mode, etc. Really, really good. And then you have stuff like the license test, which I'm still doing. I was doing them right now, so I'm trying to get gold on every of them, which is something that Aaron, I think you'll probably enjoy doing. And like initially, I was talking about this in one of our groups. Initially, I was trying to like be on the intermediate settings, which has some of the assists off. And then I realized I actually need to go to the expert settings to actually get the faster times in these license tests because I'm being held back when I'm exiting it out of a corner. My speed is not the maximum it should be. So I went back and changed some of the settings, which again speaks to its depth, right? You realize that, okay, yeah. And now actually I'm playing more on the expert settings in the actual races themselves because I'm realizing I can pick up more speed. I might go off the track now again, or like might stumble because I'm, going too hard on the accelerator or whatever. But in general, I'm doing better. So it's teaching me how to be better as well, like the tests themselves. And getting gold on them is tough, especially when like a time is like for gold trophy is like 24.6, and you think you've nailed it, but it's 24.615. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake, and you're 1.5 off it, and then you've got the ghost ahead of you the whole time. You're like, because when you're beating the ghost, obviously you're gonna beat the time. But you're like, oh, and you're like, how am I going to beat my ghost time this time, like to actually get this gold trophy? So you keep going. I legit spent like an hour doing like one license test. I'm pretty sure trying to get gold. And then there's all load of stuff like there's like missions as well, which are like similar to license tests, but like little challenges. You can like overtake challenges. There's drift challenges, a bit more lighthearted stuff. But again, you get trophies for those, and everything you do in the game, you earn rewards or credits for. You can buy credits as well if you want to pay money for that, but it never forces you to buy credits. I put almost like 40 hours into the game, and I've earned like over 1 million credits. I spent them like on like tuning and stuff as well, but I've never felt the need like to go out and say, hey, I want to spend 10 quid to get these much credits. It's very, very good. And like the online side of things, again, Aaron, I'm sure you'll be interested. Like they've got a sport mode, which is like you have daily races and you've got certain criteria to qualify for them. You need to have certain performance cars at certain levels. So there's literally seems like there's something for everyone in this game. That's why I gave it a 10. Yeah.
Nice.
The comment about classy AI just makes me think that all the AI drivers are dressed like Aaron.
Just like Aaron, yeah.
Yeah.
With cigars, with that one-handed, like with their cigars, isn't it? No, it's really, really good. It's really, really good, and I'm guessing you all will get it at some point. I know Aaron, you mentioned you're getting it. I'd highly recommend it. And like even there's like a chill out place called like the meeting places, which I haven't even touched upon. Which like certain tracks will have meeting places, which is the online part where you can just literally just go like it's like a lobby where you can just chill and drive around the track with friends. No racing involved if you don't want to race. Just go around the track and have a chat essentially, which again speaks to like the car culture stuff. If you want to do that, yeah, I know Ben, you can probably speak to it from a little bit from a gameplay point of view, but more from a tech point of view, perhaps.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've not really gone hands on with it yet. You obviously sent a lot of footage over for the tech review.
Yep.
I mean, it's just stunning. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like the thing that really genuinely surprised me was that it runs at like a native 60, or sorry, more or less a solid 60 on the PS4. Like it's a lower resolution, but the fact is, like, you can play it on a PS4 and it will run really well. Like, I've seen some stuff today about like the loading times. I think the loading times are about 50 seconds or so on the PS4, but they're near instant on the PS5.
Oh, yeah. Literally, yeah.
So that's an obvious downside, but I mean everything else, it's just a gorgeous game. The RT mode is basically it's the same as what Forza did. So like Forza had the ray tracing in the Forza Vista mode, I want to say. Yeah. And then it was kind of, taken off during the races. That's the same with GT. You have everything off the track in 30 frames a second with ray tracing on.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you get behind the wheel, as soon as you start racing, it just snaps straight into 60 frames a second. And like all the footage that you sent over, I managed to find probably about 5 or 6 instances of a frame dropping.
Yeah.
And that's across PS4, PS4 Pro, and PS5 in both modes.
Nice. It's a beautiful game, and it just gameplay. Yeah, it's just so smooth. But like, no matter what weather you're playing in, no matter how many cars you like have on the screen space at the same time, no matter what view you're playing in, it is solid 60 in gameplay from what I've seen as well. And yeah,
I mean, I'm fairly certain that like all of that work will be immediately discarded when I take control of the car and just plow it straight through a massive load of tires on the first corner.
Potentially, yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. I probably will be playing for the until I get gold on all the licenses. I'm not going to go back to Horizon until I do that. That's my treat after I finish that. Yeah. So I'm almost there. Yeah, literally, that's all I've been playing. So we'll come on to you, Ben, because this will link nicely to our first story. What have you been playing?
So the first thing I've been playing is Ollie Ollie World, which is a wonderful skateboarding game. Like the previous Ollie Ollie games were kind of very stripped back, very like two-dimensional. I meant to check this out and I didn't. I seem to remember them being basically like stickmen on the levels, and kind of, you get through them that way. But Ollie Ollie World's, it's sort of like 2.5D. You get like a flat plane, and then it's sort of the angle of the world is tilted a little bit, so you get a bit more depth in it. But that's just a really, really lovely game. Johnny reviewed it for us, gave it a 10 out of 10, because it is superb. Like just the way that everything fits and flows, and like the levels kind of just roll on from each other, and you can just lose an evening to it. It's really, really impressive game. I love it.
I like the visual style of it. I think it just looks very striking in terms of its visuals.
Yeah, like all the pastels and all of that. It's not. I think the way that they've done it is very clever, because like you're not having ultra vibrant colors in your face all the time, just like distracting you from what you're trying to do. But anything that is a bit more like vibrant on the screen, it's like that for a reason. Okay. So if you're coming up to something and then like you can split a path at some point, so you'll be able to like hit X on the Xbox controller, and you'll like verge off to another path, which will then be a different, harder route for you to take.
Okay.
And usually that'll be signified by something bright kind of coming up along that side, and you can go, oh Christ, yeah, I need to do that, and away you go there. But yeah, fantastic game. Probably about 3/4 of the way through it now.
Nice.
It's very challenging. It is, it can get quite challenging. But speaking of challenging,
yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of challenging,
I, as somebody that is not a fan of the Soulsborne series whatsoever, I have been playing Elden Ring. And like we got the code. So the full story about this is we got a code for the game 2 days before embargo. So obviously we kind of said to them, look, we're not going to be able to get a scored review out for embargo. It's it's a huge game. I don't really know how long it's going to take us to complete it, let alone get an accurate opinion in 2 days. So fair play, Andy absolutely hammered through it in those 2 days, and got his sort of initial impressions, like reviewing progress out, and then we did the let's look at and all sorts of stuff like that. And I've picked it up from there, kind of started fresh and going through it, and
wait. How many times did you die in the first 30 minutes compared to Aaron?
All of them. All of the time. All of the times.
All of the time.
But no, like I've always sort of understood and appreciated what like these games do, and like, I kind of understand, like, the audience. They're not for me, and that's fine. But I think the thing that really annoyed me was that if you kind of said to somebody, "Oh, they're not for me," like if you said it to the wrong person, you kind of got, "Oh, well, you're just not," and you kind of just get this blast of hot air straight in your face. I didn't want to use that phrase, but yes,
I did.
I never understood it. Like I played the Demon Souls remake when the PS5 came out. We got sent a code for that, so started playing through that. Again, didn't quite get around it, but the thing that I really found, a lot of people obviously mentioned this as well, but the thing I found really different about Elden Ring is that sort of it's the open world of it. Like the thing about Demon's Souls was that, you know, if I got to a point and I hit a wall, there wasn't much that I could do short of, like, you know, going back to a bonfire and respawning all the enemies, going killing the same enemies over and over again, leveling up and going back and doing the boss. Whereas with Elden Ring, I sort of hit that wall with the first big boss. Like, I was like, oh, I can't do this.
I've seen this guy in videos, Margit.
Yeah, Margit. So I hit that wall with the first boss. I was like, I just cannot do this. Like, I don't know what it's going to take. And what I actually ended up doing was, like, kind of, he's over to the sort of northwest of where you start. So I went over to the east and I did a bunch of other stuff and, like, leveled up my character. And I was like, oh, okay. Right, let's go back and try it. And I beat him tonight. Like, that's kind of, you know...
Thus your journey begins into From Software games.
But, like, it was that kind of... The freedom to be able to do other things. And it's like, you know, there is a part of me, like, as somebody that fundamentally doesn't get these games.
Yeah.
I would like possibly a little bit more guidance. You know, but at the same time, I do understand the whole.
They ain't giving no guidance, fam.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, I understand the, you know, I understand the whole thing of, like, you know, this is your world to explore. You go and do your thing, and you're on your own, kind of thing. But, like, I think I said to Andy, like, you know, to admittedly, partially to wind him up, but I did say to him, like, you know, what's wrong with an objective marker? You know, and it's little things like that you've kind of got to readjust your mind into not wanting. And, like, I'm finding it, like, good. It is a good video game. Like, it may not be for me all the way through. Like, I may bounce off it in a few hours.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the moment, I'm sort of playing it at my pace. I'm taking my time with it, and I'm learning a lot of the mechanics as I go along.
Yeah. I mean, my cycle with these From Software games, usually, apart from Bloodborne, has always gone, oh, I'll see the great, like, reviews, and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna try it, play it for a few hours, I'll get past the first few bosses, and I'll hit a wall, I'll be like, that's it, shelf it. That's it. That's usually my thing. So apart from, like, Demon's Souls, like, way back on the PS3, and Bloodborne, because I had to review Bloodborne, and that was a challenge. But I enjoyed the challenge because I was forced to do it by, like, at gunpoint or anything, but I had to do it, so I had to, like, push my way through, and I did. But yeah, that's usually my cycle. I don't know if that's your cycle as well. It seems like it.
I mean, to be fair, my cycle has normally been
fuck this shit,
play a little bit of it and go, this is not me, and then immediately bounce off it.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I'm actually, dare I say, getting into it a little bit. But one thing that's really kind of holding me back from fully getting involved is the tech side, which, I mean, it's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Like, I know that, you know, there are people that will turn around and say, oh, you know, it's fine for me. Like, I don't notice it. But as, you know, I'm fairly sensitive when it comes to the, you know, the frame rates and, you know, fluctuating frame rates, things like that, especially when you don't have VRR. Like, I've come to accept that VRR is a thing on the Xbox and on my PC, and it's like, oh, this is great. You know, like, you sometimes you can't tell the difference between something that's got VRR enabled and a native 60.
Yep.
Whereas when you've got a 50 frame or 50 to 60 frames going through, like, a 60 hertz container, it's like, oh shit, this feels horrible. And if you go and look at the tech comparison or the tech analysis video that we did for Elden Ring, it's all over the place. Like, it kind of, the performance mode on PS5 goes between sort of 45 up to 60, and it's just never stable. And then on the Xbox, it's actually lower than that. So I think it kind of is about 40 to 60. So it's very
VRR kind of helps it there, right?
Yeah, and that's where it sort of helps save it a little bit. But yeah, I don't want to sit here and say, like, you know, oh, if it was a solid 60, I'd be, you know, cheesing all the bosses, like easy mode. It's brilliant, but like there is something to be said, in my opinion, for like if something isn't a stable frame rate, you can't really expect to do like as well at the game, if that makes sense, particularly in a game like this. It feels to me like I'm fighting against the technical issues rather than focusing on like, you know, the timing to you know, to dodge out the way or to roll or to attack. And I think there's been moments where a boss or a, you know, a heavy enemy has come in for an attack and I've gone to hit roll, but the game has slowed down at like just the wrong moment and I've mistimed it because I've seen this like the sword coming down and I've hit roll at the wrong time. And like, yeah, whether it's me just looking for an excuse because I'm shit, I don't know.
Nice.
But
it's part of the challenge. It's part of the From Software challenge. That's why they challenge you more by, you know, putting this stuff in.
But like, yeah, I mean, it's just a bit of a mess, and it's a real shame. Like annoyingly, like the only way to get a solid 60 frames a second is to play the PS4 version on a PS5, and
Jesus.
I've already started the game, and I'm already. I mean, the argument could be made it looks like a PS4 game anyway, so. Really?
Yeah. I mean, like, look, there are some sections that are fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, the art style has always been, good for this.
But like, yeah, like you know, you kind of if you play it on the PS4, you lose some of like the grass on the ground and things like that. It runs at a slightly lower resolution, stuff like that. But yeah, if that, you know, if the technical side of it was better and more solid, I think I would be having a much better time with it. But
no, that's fair.
As it is, like as I say, I don't know if I'm just looking for an excuse sometimes. Like if I hit, you know, if I fuck up and I'm like, oh well, you know, frame rate drop there, like, you know, it dipped massively.
Yeah,
that might be the case.
It might be, but I mean, it seems like, which leads nicely into the segue. A lot of people would agree with you, Ben. Like we're going to talk about a few Elden Ring stories as one part of our major story in our news section. Is that PC performance issues have led to a lot of negative reviews, 40% negative reviews on Steam, which I never think I thought I'd be saying about a From Software game. So Elden Ring is receiving a significant number of negative reviews from PC owners, despite the overwhelming critical praise. The Steam page currently has 14,101 positive reviews and 9,549 negative reviews. That is as of 25th of February, meaning 40%, just over 40%, are unhappy with the game. I don't know if you're playing on PC, Aaron, or console.
No, PS5.
PS5. Okay, yeah. So I saw the Digital Foundry video on the PC version, and it looked really bad in terms of like the stuttering stuff. I know, Ben, you mentioned before we jumped on the podcast, like it's an issue with like loading stuff in. Is that correct?
Yeah, by the looks of it, the stuff from Digital Foundry basically says that when you encounter something new in the game, and that's not necessarily a new area, but like something that is being loaded for the first time from the game, so if it's like a graphical effect or an area or anything like that, it kind of hitches from anywhere between like half a second to, I think someone said like it can hitch for up to like a 2 or 3 seconds. And then it carries on and then it's fine. Like, you know, after that, once you've seen it once, it's basically cached somewhere and then away you go. But yeah, it seems.
I mean, I'm going to read out one of the reviews. Struggling to maintain a 60 FPS 1080p on a GeForce RX 380. Massive stuttering and drops to the mid-20s. Crashed 4 times within 2 hours of the game. 60 FPS cap and no ultra-wide support. That was one review, and then another one was, never would I have expected to give Elden Ring a downvote based on the game's performance on PC. I'm hardly a frames per second snob and can live with the lack of ultra-wide support in 2022 because the game itself is brilliant and it's bound to deliver on everything people expected and more. But that just makes this whole dilemma so much worse regarding the poor performance on PC, which kind of touched upon what you were alluding to, Ben. Gary, I'm going to come to you just to ask you, because like you've been sitting on the periphery of this Elden Ring conversation we're having, listening in with intent. Hope so. Like, I'm going to guess this is probably, like, knowing you well, I'm guessing this is probably not a game that's down your street. But looking at the praise and then looking at the technical issues at the moment on like pretty much everything, it seems like it. What are your thoughts? Would you ever think about purchasing it, or like, nah, fuck that, I'm staying away from it?
So I think I mentioned last week, I'm not really a From Software guy.
Yeah,
it's not my sort of jam. But this does interest me because of obviously everyone's talking about it, and that's one thing I've noticed with Horizon Forbidden West. Elden Ring is completely shut off that game online on trends, and so it's a huge deal. I will get it at some point, but I'm probably going to wait until it comes down in price, and then once I've got nothing to play, then pick it up, because it does interest me, but it's just not a priority at the moment.
That's fair.
But yeah, regarding like how it's running on obviously PC and PS5 and Xbox, it's interesting, because I think we mentioned this off air. It's running on an old engine. Yeah. It's obviously creaking, which that really surprises me that they didn't even like. They don't obviously have to change the engine as such, but at least like sort of give it a bit of TLC to run better. It just seems a bit of a misstep to me.
I think in a way the Demon's Souls remake has shown them up a bit in terms of the tech. Yeah. And like set expectations from a FromSoft. Obviously that wasn't. It's a remake of a From Software game by a different studio. But I think the Demon's Soul remake, because of its fidelity and the way it ran, and it was quite smooth in whatever mode you played it on, has kind of set expectations now, and like they seems like from a technical standpoint have failed to live up to that, because I think most AAA games now, like Horizon, from a technical point of view, it runs beautifully, and the visual fidelity is also up there as well. For something like this, you know, one of the most anticipated games of like the recent times that I can think of, and it's come out to like great critical praise, which we'll touch upon a bit, like some of the positive stuff. It seems like they, I don't know, maybe it would like it didn't come into their thinking like, oh, we need to up our game technically here. But I would have thought with Demon's Souls remake they'd be like, oh crap, they're kind of, you know, they're kind of up the game here. Yeah, I mean, Aaron, how are you coping so far on PS5?
Well, as I said, I haven't played.
Okay.
Like I played like half an hour of it, but I mean, like From Software have never been like the most technically gifted of developers. I don't know if that's because the studio's not big enough, so they don't have enough resources to like put towards it. I mean, you compare it to Horizon, I imagine those teams are quite.
Imagine so. Yeah.
In regards to like. So I understand where Ben's coming from, because he's obviously coming from like a PC snobbery background like myself. So 30 frames is just like, what is this? But on the flip side, console gamers have been getting 30 frames for how many years now? Nobody really bats an eye. There's a shit ton of games that I've played over the countless years, and they all run at kind of terrible 30 frames per second when you compare it to anything on the PC side. So like,
they should be used to this, is what you're saying. Used to this, you'd be used to this, you peons.
Is it blown out of proportion a little bit? I might say, but I mean,
I think the thing is, it's not that, you know, it's either 60 or it's 30. Like, it's that even like the resolution mode, so the mode that's like, hey, this is going to be, you know, the best visual performance, but not necessarily the frame rates, you know, the frames that you want. That's not capped. So you're playing it, and it just feels awful, because it again, that goes from the mid 20s to the mid 40s. It's like you never get that consistent rate. It's like, if this game was capped at 30 frames on the resolution mode, I'd probably play it in the resolution mode, because it's a stable frame rate. That's the thing that that's missing for me. It's like, you know, that there's no stability in it unless you, I'll say, go the back compat route.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, as you say, things like that are quite apparent oversight. But again, like, I mean, I know the PC guys must have modded that out, right? I know the frame rate cap on the PC has been actually modded off, so you can actually.
Right.
It must have been by now. Yeah, I imagine so.
I'm pretty sure they'll get around. I mean, they have to, right? A frame rate cap, it's not hard. Well, I can't imagine it's hard. Like, it's probably a line of code somewhere, unless it's like tied up in their game engine somewhere, which is causing them problems.
It did that with Dark Souls, didn't it? Was it Dark Souls 2?
Yeah, it might be just badly coded. Who knows?
Yeah, could be. But I mean, they don't have a history of like patching games very quickly or at all, really. Bloodborne didn't get a patch really to improve performance. I mean, it didn't even get like a PS5 kind of upgrade or anything. It just basically ran the PS4 game on the PS5, and it basically was using the PS5's grunt rather than a dev, done thing. So I don't know if
it still had the frame pacing issues.
It's still exactly. I remember watching a video. Yeah, it still had the issues. So I think my point there is like, will they bow to like this external pressure and like kind of the bad press they're getting based on this? Because it's apparent. Like even Digital Foundry kind of shot it down, and like they like have the biggest reach, the biggest voice, shall we say, in that community. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they bow to the pressure and like say, okay, we're gonna as Ben said, like a resolution mode, we'll put it at 30. We're working on something for performance, like to give something more stable. They might have to use DRS or something like that. I'm not sure if it's using DRS already, but if not, that's usually a technique that devs use, like to make sure that the stable 60 is in play. And then the PC thing is just a huge different thing. They need to. I mean, that's a minefield because so many graphics cards, so many CPUs to work with. They'll have to figure something out. I dare say it's not the last we'll hear either way. But some positive stuff though, because we like to look at both sides. Once when it launched on PC, which is around the 25th, this news story comes from. It had 764,000 concurrent players.
Crazy.
Just hours after its release, and that's pretty impressive. That's 6 times more than Dark Souls 3 highest concurrent player ever was. So that just shows you that, as we mentioned, this game has been one of the most anticipated games for a long time. So that speaks to that. And then I think closer to home, especially here in the UK, it looks like it's kind of smashed records for them. So I'm looking at physical sales data. It comfortably outsold Dark Souls 3 by 26%. And I imagine it will continue to do so as well. I imagine it will be in the charts for a bit. And that obviously doesn't include digital sales figures as well. So by any stretch of the imagination, I imagine the game from a financial point of view, commercial point of view, is a success. From a critical point of view, is a success because lots of 9s and 10s, despite the issues we've all mentioned and talked about. It is a success. Elden Ring. We're all playing. Well, Aaron's playing it. Ben is playing it. Gary might play it. I have it on the shelf, but I'm waiting for a patch, which might never come. So it might stay still forever. Let's see. But I dare say, like I said, this is probably not the last time we will talk about Elden Ring on this podcast.
I mean, it's not doing much against my protest against like open world game, making everything open world, is it? Put open world in Elden Ring, and it's just like the best selling Dark Souls game ever to be. So it's like, for fuck's sake.
As GameSpot said, Death of the Wild.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
just to like kind of throw a pebble in the lake.
Do it
and just watch the ripples go. Like, is there something to be said where all of these 10 out of 10s have come out and the game has launched with this level of performance problem?
Probably. Yes.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Like, I don't think I'd ever feel comfortable like giving a game a 10 out of 10 when it runs like shit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of other games get dunked on if they would have similar performance issues. Let's be honest, it's true. And they have.
Like just kind of just as an argument, right? I when we put the Horizon reviews up, I got accosted online by somebody I shouldn't have engaged, but I did anyway because I'm an idiot. But basically, like they said, oh well, Horizon runs at a solid 60 and or a solid 30. What? How on earth can you say that that's only a 9? Like, objectively, it needs to have this. And I was like, okay, no, that's not how this shit works. But then when Elden Ring came out, or when Elden Ring's reviews came out, the same person, I kind of checked back in, and he was like, "This is the best game. Look at all these 10s." And then, he's looking at the same things that he did for the Horizon review, and he's like going, "Oh, this is the best thing ever." It's like, right, so you just want people to say that what you like is the best thing ever without actually putting any critical thought into it.
It's just human. It's human psychology. If you love something, you'll palm things off. You'll make excuses for all sorts of things.
I understand.
Yeah, I love you guys. I make excuses for you all the time. What are you talking about?
But I think that's the question for me. Is like I just think there's a big question mark over like giving something a 10 out of 10 when there are issues like that fundamentally affect the game. And I'm fairly certain that Andy's probably going to be listening to the podcast and going, but it doesn't affect me, it's fine. But like, a
lot of people
are there.
A lot of people will.
Yeah. And that's fine. But in my opinion, like technical issues,
in your opinion, they're wrong. Essentially,
I'm not saying that. But like in my opinion, and it's something that I've always said with NGB is like, if there's an issue with the game, like technically you need to mention that in the review, because ultimately it's part of the product that people are going to buy.
Yeah.
Like whether that's relevant 18 months down the line when after they put out 6 patches for it, you can always go back and update that.
Of course.
Or we can always do another technical analysis video, but the product that you review, you have to take into account things like, does it run well?
I mean, we're in 2022. I think we're in a world where everything will be analyzed with a fine-tooth comb. I think it's something that you probably should mention. And just on that, Gran Turismo 7 has no technical issues. Just pointing that out. I didn't encounter one bug. Just putting that out there.
There you go.
Yeah. On that note, we will move on. Lots of Elden Ring chat. We will talk about now something that's kind of linked to PC. We'll talk about the Steam Deck. So reviews are out in the wild. Some players, or some users, have lucky users have got their hands on the actual launch units as well. Some delivered by Gabe Newell himself in a video I saw.
Oh, so cringe.
Yeah, which was an interesting watch. I mean, it was a nice thought, but yeah, the way it was delivered literally was interesting, so we say to speak. But yeah, the Steam Deck are out there. I'm still waiting on my one, and I know everyone else, if you probably pre-ordered, are probably still waiting on your one as well. I think we have to wait a little while. I think mine's coming in Q2 of 2022. Before I get into the stories, has everyone pre-ordered one? Ben, I'm guessing you have.
So
no,
I'd actually pre-ordered one for Gary.
Oh, right, nice.
And then Gary said the other day that he doesn't think he'll use it.
So you're gonna
can I cancel the pre-order? And now I'm sitting here going, but what if I don't cancel the pre-order?
I hope your missus doesn't listen to this podcast.
That's all right. She'll be fine.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Famous last words.
So Aaron and Gary are not. Myself and Ben, it seems like willingly or not. Yeah, he's another thing.
Maybe.
Yeah, but the reviews are out. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I originally wanted it, but the more I thought about it, the more I just know I'll get it for a week, play it, and then it'd be gathering dust.
Yeah, fair. I mean,
that's my issue with the Steam Deck at the moment. I'm struggling to see who its target audience is. Like, it's kind of like a technical wet dream kind of thing. So like I want it because it's cool.
It's cool tech.
Yeah.
The problem with that is what do you do with it?
Hey, come on, man! You want to play God of War in your hands, on a at good resolution, running really well in your hands. Come on, man! Come on, you do.
For maybe 30 minutes.
Ah.
The problem is it's too big to be portable. I can play these games elsewhere in my house if I'm not going to be moving about. So it's kind of like, other than its technical aspects, I'm not quite sure where its target audience is. So but we'll find out soon enough.
That's a good point, actually. Like, it is huge. So like, I would feel uncomfortable playing that on the train or something.
Yeah.
And you saying that you would feel uncomfortable whipping out something that big on a
train? That went different direction. And yeah, like Aaron said, like if he wanted to play God of War, he's got a powerful PC to play on. So it's that awkward sort of in no man's land a bit.
It's the middle ground, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess it might be targeted at people who want their PC games on the go. Maybe perhaps people are there is an audience out there. It seems like it because it's it's pre-ordered.
There must be,
it's pre-ordered very well, or people just love blowing the money on tech like I do. I guess maybe. But yeah, like I said, the reviews are out there. We're going to focus on talking about the one from Digital Foundry, which leads with the kind of headline: the handheld PC capable of console quality gaming. So basically, their headline is PS4 quality gaming in the palm of your hand. And I think that thread runs through the review. They've run through like a bunch of games like Horizon, Batman, Arkham Knight, I think I saw in the video as well. A few others as well. And essentially they're saying, it's PS4 quality in your hand. Some issues here and there, but I mean, actually, like you're talking about, Gary, like it's really big. Like, is it going to be comfortable? I watched their review of it, and they actually said it's actually more comfortable than you'd think, and it's more comfortable than actually playing for hours compared to the Switch. Because like when I don't know about you guys, when I play the Switch handheld, your hand starts to like cramp after a while. You get
cramp up.
Yeah, a little bit of pins and needles start happening. Apparently, this is not the case with the Steam Deck on lengthy playthroughs. But one of the problems that I did kind of find out from the reviews, that the battery life, as you'd expect, probably is not the best. So you probably get like a couple of hours out of it. Yeah, a couple of hours out of it at best. So you might need to keep it hooked up. So, Ben, because you might get one. Have you checked out the review?
Yeah, I've seen a few reviews.
Yeah. Thoughts?
I mean, it's not doing anything to dissuade me from cancelling that pre-order because I'm just there like, this is cool, and it's like Aaron said, it's cool tech.
It's a technical wet dream,
and I like shit. I like shit that's new and shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, the best use for it would probably be playing games in a higher quality than a Switch while sat on the sofa while somebody else is watching TV.
Yeah. That's how I'd see it.
It's a very niche case, but
it's a big case in most regards because a lot of people, like to share entertainment spaces with their family or friends, etc. And yeah, if you want a game, you have to maybe switch to a handheld, and maybe this is the way forward, especially for if you've got a PC, or maybe if you don't have a PC, man, you want to get into PC gaming. This is probably maybe an entry point into that.
Yeah.
For some people as well. So maybe that's the market, and maybe that answers like the question, Aaron, you had earlier, like what market is this looking at? Maybe that is their market, and that's apart from people blowing their cash on new tech. I think that could be the market, and like it seems like things run quite well. I saw their God of War performance, and like at 720p, at like kind of standard like PS4 type settings. It ran at like 38 frames. 800p, it ran at like 36 from what I saw. So that's pretty good performance.
Pretty good,
yeah, pretty good performance. not Aaron's holy 60 frames a second, of course, but for something that's
Mate, I see 60 frames these days, and I'm like, what the fuck?
What?
Like, I'll have my monitor like switch back to 60 frames for some reason randomly, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, my mouse is starting across the screen. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
120 or nothing, isn't it? Yeah.
Back to 240 we go.
Oh, 240. Okay, damn. All right, fine. Way ahead of everyone else. Okay. I mean, but there have been a few issues. Like I said, like review units are out. And I think one thing to mention is like there is a site that's launched where you can check if your library will play the games as well. So that's pretty handy. It's like if you are looking to get one, and I don't think everything is like compatible, but like most of the stuff you think, like stuff like Control, God of War, Doom, Ghost Runner, Hades, all that kind of stuff is compatible. So like the big stuff is maybe there'll be some cases where games aren't compatible, but if you are getting one or thinking about getting one, I think your library will work. You can go to the website and have a look. But I think in the last 2 days, which might be it seems like a similar issue that the Switch had, and I don't know if you had any of you had the drift issue on the sticks with the Switch, but that's happening with the Steam Deck as well. So some people that have had I've got their units are reporting a drift issue with the sticks. But they've also patched it very, very quickly, which is, applauding going there. Like a software fix came out pretty straight away, and they have patched that as well. So it seems like, I think I wanted to point this out because obviously there's an issue, but the support on the other side, it seems like it's going to be good as well. Does that tempt you in, Gary?
I'll always be tempted to pre-order.
I'll always be tempted, and I'm pretty sure at some point I'll get one.
Yeah.
Because it's like you guys said, it's new tech. But just at this sort of precise moment in time, I just don't feel it's necessary for me to have one because it would literally, I wouldn't be playing it enough to justify the cost. But say in 6 months, that might change, or a year that might change. But at the moment, I'm always interested in it because it looks like a cool device. But yeah, I think for now I am passing the baton over to Ben to tempt Ben into to purchasing the pre-order. So
nice.
Thanks, I hate it.
Nice. Before we move on, any last thoughts from anyone on Steam Deck? I think everyone's had their say. I think we're all good.
It's fucking massive.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah. We'll move on then. On that note, on the massive note, to another massive story. Lovely segue there is FIFA 23. First details have kind of emerged from it. I know we're all, at some point in our lives, we were dedicated football gaming fans. Maybe not as much as before. And then the second part of that story is EA CEO has spoken to staff and said it is being impeded by the FIFA brand, and it's just 4 letters on a box. So we'll start with perhaps the story with the 4 letters on the box. Gary, when I come to you first, is it just 4 letters on a box?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think EA have got so big with it, the game, that do they really need those 4 letters on a box? I think if you would have said like 15, 20 years ago, I think they did, because obviously they were sort of building up the hype. It's never always been this big, FIFA. But I think now it's just like, as soon as someone sees an EA Sports football game, they know what it is, regardless. So yeah, I personally don't believe that they need that branding on the box because they're too big. I mean, EA Sports,
that's fair.
As soon as you see that box, you know, regardless if it said FIFA or it just said EA, I don't know, EA Sports Football, you know it's the same, but essentially it's going to be the same game.
Is the problem then, just to play devil's advocate, like if someone says to you FIFA, like if you say someone to FIFA, you think of the game, not the organization, really, which you're right. But then if they rename it something else, people will be like, oh, where's FIFA? Because
I think people...
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think people will always call it FIFA, I think, regardless. But they obviously have to do some sort of magical marketing to sort of try and show people that
it's not FIFA.
It's not called that anymore, but it's the same game. So yeah, they're going to have a lot of work to do, but I believe, yeah, the brand FIFA isn't really an issue. I don't think for EA. I don't think they really need it, to be honest. But
yeah, Mr. H.R. Sullivan, where do you land on this this very public spat between, it looks like, EA Sports and FIFA, who want all the money from them to keep the rights?
So you'd have to clarify for me, like, what's tied up in that FIFA name? Is it any of the licenses at all, or is it literally just the name?
It's just the governing body, and I guess to get access to maybe some stuff, but mainly it's just the name.
I think
FIFA.
they said the World Cup.
It'll be some of the rights to, obviously the World Cup is a FIFA World Cup, so yeah, you'll get rights to the World Cup from that. But everything else is pretty much negotiated with either the leagues or the teams themselves.
Then this franchise is way too big to fail. So if you want to get rid of the FIFA name, get rid of it. Save yourself some money. Reroute that money into some development and make a better game. That's my view on
that's your no, that's fair. Ben, where do you land on this? Are you with the devilish EA, as everyone likes to think, or are you with the even more devilish FIFA?
I mean, the guys have said it. I think we said it before. When this kind of started to come out of the, in the, are we going to call it FIFA anymore? Like, if you say FIFA to somebody now, you just think, oh, football game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think world governing body. That's kind of where it is. The one thing that I would possibly disagree on slightly is what Gary said about needing to do a huge marketing blitz, because I think all they need to do is put a screen that comes up on the login of FIFA 22, or whichever game will be the last one, saying, "Hey, next year the game's going to be called this," and
that's fair. Actually.
That's it.
That's a fair point.
That's the job
but
done.
Then the issue with that is people that didn't buy FIFA 22. How are they going to know that the next one is called?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll
EA
know.
Sports Football.
I think that there will be enough buzz created by it that will hit the mainstream. Like, if you are suddenly going, like, the biggest gaming franchise on the planet is losing its primary name and changing to something else, that'll be on BBC News.
Yeah,
that's kind of where it's
I
at.
mean,
I just think
they'll still have to spend money. I think Gary is right to agree. They still will have to spend some marketing to reach the audience that probably doesn't, is not in that space, or just buys FIFA every year and doesn't look online, doesn't come to like NGB, obviously, doesn't come to other sites around the internet. They'll probably still have to up their budget, so we say, and find different ways of communicating to these people. But I agree with all of you. I think the FIFA is now forever the football game. So EA don't need them as much as they need them, essentially. And that is now the case, and that I think EA know they're in a good position, and I think FIFA need them more to reach out to like that audience, to that casual younger audience perhaps, and they probably don't realize that. But yeah, once they lose that, let's see what happens. But talking of, well, potentially not FIFA 23, something 23. First details have emerged around FIFA 23, according to Crossfire, I want to say, or Xfire, that FIFA 23 will have crossplay for the first time in the series history, and also that the hypermotion technology they introduced this year will have a large upgrade. Will now allow the development team to capture animations from real footballers in real matches using stadium cameras, eliminating the need for those fancy suits. So more detail, etc. And then they also talked about, this kind of puts them in a pickle because they want to have the men's and women's FIFA World Cup. So if they want to have that, they got to talk to FIFA. So that
awkward.
those are the plans for FIFA 23. Aaron, I know we used to play a lot of FIFA, a lot of PES. I'm not going to call it eFootball because it's just sacrilege. Are you still in the football gaming scene? Are you intrigued by next FIFA?
I would love to have a good football game, period, to be honest. Unfortunately, like, I know everybody's ragging on Konami's effort, but
As they should.
to me, FIFA's been kind of stagnant for a better part of 5, 6, maybe 7 years, and they haven't done anything to make me want to come back. It seems like what they do is introduce a feature and then take it away next year, and then introduce it back, and then taking it, and it's just a cycle instead of actually moving the game forward. And so I was just like, why am I buying this year after year to just have heading be overpowered one year, and then next year it's doo-doo, and then the next year it's overpowered again. It's like, so they need to focus on the gameplay as far as I'm concerned.
Nothing about gameplay yet, by the way, just to let you know. Yeah.
Being the best of one doesn't necessarily mean you're a good game. That's
that's absolutely fair. Gary, what? Yeah, I know we play FIFA every year. Like, we have a few matches, we'll pick it up.
Yeah.
But then we kind of lose, I guess, our appetite. Because as Aaron mentioned, the depth isn't there anymore.
Yeah. I've FIFA 22. I barely played it this year.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I'd probably say I've put like 3 or 4 hours into it, that's ridiculously low for me with FIFA. I just think, a bit like Aaron said, it's become a bit stale, a bit sort of stagnant. And there's other great stuff we've been playing as well, so that doesn't obviously help it. But yeah, FIFA 23, it's what I expected, really. Improvement on hypermotion. Crossplay though, that's a good thing, because that's something that should have been in for a long time ago. So but it's basically what I expected from the next iteration.
I'll get your thoughts, Ben, before we finish off this story. What FIFA thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that, like, with it being crossplay, that obviously now means that the PC version is going to be bumped up to like current gen.
It's a big one, yeah.
But I think the thing is, I do agree that, like, it's kind of gotten a little bit stale, and the primary reason for that is because Foot makes them $1.5 billion a year. Like, why do they need to carry on, innovating and doing all this stuff in single player modes and other modes, when they can just rely and say, oh yeah, sod it, it'll be fine. Foot will get us however much money it is again this year. So
yeah,
I'd like to see Foot go free to play.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's coming at some point. Yeah.
I mean, I think there were obviously heavy rumors that the whole lot was going to go free to play after Konami decided to make eFootball free to play, but then after that didn't go very well. I just wonder whether they're now going, we don't need to do it because fuck it, there's no other game on the market. Like, people will still buy FIFA. Yeah.
Well, UFL's coming. There's maybe some competition in some form. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, I'm sure. Well, usually summertime we start hearing the first around FIFA, like football games. I'm sure we'll start getting actual official tidbits around that point, and we'll be here talking about it. Yeah. Move on to some very quick news roundups. We're not going to cover everything I had on the list because kind of short on time here, but we will cover this one because this is picking up steam once again. So classic games will be a big part of PlayStation's Game Pass rival. We've discussed this on the podcast a few times about codename Project Spartacus and it being pretty close to launching, and what will it have and how it will go down. But a person in the know, speaking on the Giant Bomb podcast, Jeff Grubb, has said it's pretty close to launching, and something will happen by the end of the month. So that's the end of March. We're currently in March. But he doesn't think it might not be publicly. So it might be like an internal milestone, etc. Still, the 3 tiers thing is out there, like $10, $13, $16 for the premium. But classic games will be a big part of that. Does that excite you, Ben?
It does.
But
if that also, it does. But it means, like, if they also open up back compat in general. Like, if I can suddenly go back and download my PS3 games and stick a PS2 disc in in my PS5 and then stick a PlayStation disc in my PS5. If that's how it, if that's the case, and I don't need to subscribe to this tier in order to do that, fine. Hell, even if I do have to subscribe to the tier, I probably will anyway because I'm a sucker. But like,
I think
if it now means that backwards compatibility is a thing, fine. Like this is great.
I don't think it will be. Sorry, Ben. I think it's more. It'll more come down to like streaming. That's what's being suggested, and like also as part of the premium tier, you'll get trials of games as well. So kind of like EA Play. Think of EA Play. That's how things will go down, and obviously PlayStation Plus will be part of each tier as well, because that is a big part of what PlayStation do, and you kind of need that to play online. Aaron, 250 to 300 games, something like that, is what's been talked about as part of this catalogue of classic games. What do you think?
I think bring them. As I said, I've always said, like, for me, it's not particularly, again, if I want to play, I've usually got the games I want to play, like Ben's saying. I don't think they're going to, as you're also saying, I don't think they're going to give you backpack, because then you don't have to pay for this, and they want you to pay for this. But people want these games. There's a lot of nostalgia tied up with the PlayStation brand and all the games that come along with it. Just give the people what they want, and they'll be very happy with you, and you'll have a shit ton of good PR.
And you'll be charging them a bit more a month as well. So, there you go. Gary, will you pay for the premium $16 a month? So that's probably in pounds for us. We're looking at probably about 15 quid, most likely. Let's be honest. It's not going to be. We're probably just a little bit cheaper. 15 quid, let's say. Would you pay that for a premium tier? With getting all this stuff in there, like trials of games, classic games, etc. Would you pay that?
Yes, I think.
But
like my issue with it is,
I like big butts.
It all looks good. Get it? My issue with it is it all looks good on paper, and you think, oh, it's amazing. I can play all these old games. Going, I can do this, I can do that, but then you don't, because like I do it every time. I buy like a remaster and think, I'll play that again, and I play like a couple of hours, and then I'm like, I'm done. Like that's
it's
my
the Steam Deck
worry
conversation
with it.
again, isn't it?
Yeah.
The question is, does somebody care about that? As long as you're paying the money, it's like a gym.
No, they don't.
Isn't it? So
they don't. Yeah.
Happy for you to Sorry.
I would pay a month and try it out, but I can't see me sticking with it forever. To be honest, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I just think I'd rather play new experiences, new games, rather than going back to something that I've played like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, interesting. I know one thing that interests me in the kind of reading this is like the premium tier, where it talks about the EA Play trial kind of stuff. The person talking implies that all PlayStation first-party titles could offer these trials at the premium tier. So, for example, Horizon Forbidden West comes out. If there's like a little trial for it before you look to buy it, that's quite enticing.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
That's quite enticing. Like the new God of War comes out, you're like, I'm not sure. Why wouldn't you be sure for God of War? Sounds like a weird one, but still want to try it. Want to try the first couple of hours or whatever. Like that is essentially giving you demos again. Let's be honest.
Damn. Gone full circle.
Yeah, gone full circle. I mean that's.
I'm sure that was once a marketing point for PS Plus. I'm sure at one point it was like you can get full game trials for if you subscribe to PS Plus.
A lot of stuff was promised in that conference. I remember that didn't happen, and we all forgot about it because they just handed over boxes and everyone cheered because Xbox fucked up. Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's well. Let's be honest. It seems like it's happening. It's been leaked for many a month now. We've talked about it on the podcast. So we better get ready either way to probably pay a bit more. So we choose to, if we choose to, obviously. But if we're getting all this stuff included, and we take advantage of it. I mean, Gary, you said you might play it for a few hours and here and there. But if we take advantage, then that's actually quite a bit of content. If you're having like a back catalogue of over 300 games, plus like trials for first party stuff, plus PlayStation Plus included within that, and all the cloud streaming stuff included in that. I think that's only part of the premium tier. That's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal considering you're paying. I mean, obviously, Game Pass probably looks like a better deal because you're Game Pass. You're getting, was it $10.99? I can't remember now. $10.99 a month.
Yeah, about that.
About 11 quid around there. You're getting obviously everything. Game Pass Ultimate in there as well. So obviously they're looking to compete with that. That is exactly what they're looking to compete with this premium tier. Bit more expensive, as we I think we talked about in the podcast. We would expect to be more expensive because it's PlayStation. But yeah. Let's see. With the tiers, they might ease people into it. Let's see how that goes. There were a few other stories we wanted to hit upon, but I think not going to manage to get through everything. But we will hit on this. Amazon launches Luna, but in the US only at the moment. So in the US at the moment, it's launched with free Prime games as well. So Prime members will receive free games to stream, which will rotate monthly. So this is obviously Amazon dipping. They've already fully dipped their toe into the game waters, but this is gaming streaming platform. So kind of jumping on what Stadia tried to do, a bit unsuccessfully, but maybe a bit better this time. So the service and the infrastructure will allow people to stream up to 4K 60 FPS. On like Fire TV, PC, Mac, Android, and iOS through a browser. And the first games, as far as I can see here, that are kind of coming with it. I saw Devil May Cry on there, which is not a bad one to have first up. But what do we think, Ben, about Amazon dipping their toe into this gaming streaming circus, shall we say? Yeah. Would you try it? You'll try it. You'll try it. We'll all try it if it comes here to the UK.
I mean, I've tried Stadia. Stadia works fine. I've tried On Live back in the day. That was fine.
God. Yeah, I remember I tried that. Aaron, I think we tried On Live as well.
I've still got the little micro console and controller.
I've got it somewhere, yeah.
What else has there been? Stadia, On Live. Gaikai, yeah, and then obviously PlayStation Now and Xbox game streaming. It's fine. It's not how I want to play my games, but if I'm out and about and I'm, got a controller with me, bust my phone out in a 5G area and start playing something. I don't know. It's not for me. But
not for you. Not for you.
Yeah.
But it might be for some people. It might be because it seems like they're adding functionality to Twitch as well that will support Luna as well and all that stuff. So they obviously they own Twitch, so they can do that. It's their platform. But
that could be cool because like the YouTube integration with Stadia is actually pretty solid.
Yeah. Aaron, I can probably field a guess as to what you're going to say here, but I'll let you say it anyway.
I'm gonna 100% agree with Ben. I mean, it's cool. Like again, like if I was at the girlfriend's house and I don't have my shit, I can hop on and that's how I would use it. But
hop on in your robe and be like, yeah, let's do this.
I mean, I'm not sure I'll be wearing anything.
Well, fair enough.
But like in terms of like playing games, just in general, it's coming from again my snobbery. That delay is always present, and it's really jarring and really annoying. And if I have the option to play on an actual physical console that will render in real time, that's what I'm going to do for now. Who knows what happens in the future? It might get better. I'm in AWS. They have the infrastructure and whatnot.
And that's what it's using. Yeah, that's what it's using. And like the games this month are in the US. Obviously, it's been Devil May Cry 5, Observer, System Redux, Fogs, Flashback, and from March 8th to the 14th, Immortals, Phoenix, Rising. It's a different game.
It's a very different game. Fogs is great fun though. You play as two like little dogs.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is it? I think it's one dog connected in the middle.
Well, if it comes to the UK, I will try it out then. Until then, I'm not, because it hasn't come to the UK. How dare they?
It's on Game Pass.
Okay. All right, I might try it. Then. Before we quickly finish up, Gary, Amazon and Luna. No, Yes,
Yeah.
maybe. Sometimes. Occasionally.
After playing Guardians of the Galaxy Cloud version on the Switch, I'm good. Nah, I joke. Like, it's not for a bit like Ben. It's not for me, but there's obviously a market for it.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about it coming to America first, they all do that. Like Disney Plus did it, and it because obviously it doesn't. If you sort of split out country releases, it sort of helps them with servers and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it will come to the UK, but am I interested? Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah. It's sort of like I'm a bit sort of like meh with that sort of thing. So
Fair enough. I'm not interested. Just if anyone was interested in knowing, I am a snob like everyone here, basically, and proud of it. Damn it. Before we finish up, we're gonna give you some news on like the Game Pass games for this month and PlayStation Plus's games as well. So, Guardians of the Galaxy, we've been talking about it for the last few weeks because Aaron's been playing it and Gary loves the cloud version so much. It is coming. It is coming to Xbox Game Pass in March, and we're also having Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. We mentioned that it's like
we did actually.
Full circle. Yeah. And Flight Simulator on cloud and more. I think we've all played Guardians already, haven't we? So yeah, this is a bit too late for us to try it out, but that's good. It's getting more people to play the game. So they have like 25. Hopefully, maybe all 25 million people will play. I doubt they will, but hopefully a few million of those 25 million get to play this good game. Anything else?
The big hitter.
Go on, say it.
The real big hitter.
Lawn mowing simulator.
There you go.
Yeah.
Lawn mowing simulator. I think it's just hit today.
Yes.
everything's a simulator.
Lawn mowing simulator. But there's a big fan base for these games, though.
Crazy.
A huge fan base for these games, and they sell more than you think. And a lot of people are like, one of our most popular reviews is Farming Simulator, or on the channel. So there is an audience for it.
I played the one on Game Pass, the Snow. What's it called?
SnowRunner.
That's actually pretty good. I played that as well.
really good. But I was like, "Geez, man, the depth in that is."
It's the Dark Souls of SnowRunning games.
Yeah. It was crazy how much depth there was. I was like, "Geez,
madness." And then we moved to PlayStation Plus. I know, Aaron, I think you played this and you really enjoyed it. Ghost Runner is coming to PlayStation Plus on the PS5. It's the PS5 version. You played it on PC, right, Aaron? Is that right?
Yeah. It's a fun little game.
It's really good.
Should play it.
Really good.
Yeah.
And Ben, you played it, so I see you nodding along.
Yeah, I reviewed it. It's good fun.
Really good. Gary, you haven't played it, have you? Ghost Runner.
no."
Well, there you go. There's your chance to play it. There you go. I was hoping you'd say no.
Yeah.
It's coming to PlayStation Plus in March. And we've got also
Give it a go.
Team Sonic Racing, Ark Survival Evolved, and also as a bonus is Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which is like the co-op part, isn't it? If I'm correct.
That is hardcore, yeah.
Yeah. Any of these games interest anyone? Don't all speak at once.
Sonic All Stars Racing is apparently quite good.
It is very good, actually. It's pretty good. It's free.
Yeah.
Why not give it a try? So yeah, these games were leaked. They were leaked originally, but now it's been confirmed. Yeah, so they are coming. Yeah. Sorry, Gary, were you gonna say something?
Don't think so.
No. Okay. I was just hearing your beautiful voice in my ears, resonating.
Okay. Always. I'm always in your head.
Well, I'm glad you're there, not anywhere else. On that note, we will finish up this week's podcast. Because I have places to be and I'm already running late. So thank you all for being on. There's lots of content on the website, lots of content on the YouTube channels. I can't remember all the times with like there's lots of stuff going on basically. And there's a proper, I think Andy's working on the Elden Ring full review as well. That should be coming soon. Nico's working on Destiny Witch Queen as well. At some point he'll be working on WWE 2K22 as well. Video games basically are happening.
Plenty of.
In the background.
Everybody's playing the franchises they love by the sound of it.
Everyone, we try to work it out.
And I'm playing Elden Ring.
Yeah. A franchise you will soon love to hate. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for being on, Gary, Aaron, as usual. Always a pleasure. And Ben, for stepping into the rotating chair and dunking on Elden Ring because, yeah.
Whoa.
No. It's always good to hear differing thoughts. Like I even enjoyed hearing Gary's different thoughts on Horizon as well. It's always nice to hear a different side. Hopefully next week you are enjoying Horizon. Otherwise, we will definitely have words then. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be it for this week. Yeah, everyone. Like I said, stay tuned to the website, the YouTube channel, the Twitters. All updates will come there. But until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay gaming. Bye, everyone.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.